Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with another book review, and this time I'm reviewing Let Him In by William Fried, however you want to say it. Now, I will say this. This book, in the UK, I believe, is called Black Mamba. So if you can't find it under Let Him In, try Black Mamba. Now, I found this book at my local library, and I will say this. My library's been coming through with some hits and movies for me to watch, books for me to read. I'm going to give this book a 4.9. This book engaged me, had me thinking, had me really wanting to read it. And guys, I was sick trying to read this book. I was sick in bed with a fever trying to read this book. And my daughter's like, Mommy, you need to put the book down and go to sleep. Like, she was scolding me like I would scold her. It was really funny. But this is how much this book drew me in. So, let's get into my review. Now, this is supposed to be a gothic horror. I didn't see too much gothic into it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. A little bit horror, not so much scary. It's more psychological than anything to me. So, the main premise of this book is a family dealing with grief. So you have the main character, Alfie, who has lost the mother of his children. And then you have the main female character, Julia, who is the twin sister of the woman who died. And the woman who died is named Pippa. So, this book is told from 2 points of view, Alfie's and Julia's. Julia is a psychiatrist. Alfie is dealing with the loss of his long-term partner and the mother of his children because they never married. And he's dealing with grief. He's dealing with basically, how am I supposed to be a mother and father to these children? He's drowning. He's got his own grief. He doesn't know how he's going to function. And you can slowly see the grief is taking him over. Like, he can't process. Like, I believe Alfie didn't have enough time to process his grief. And as someone who lost her mother a few years ago, I can tell you that's hard because I didn't have enough time to process my grief. And there are days you just lose your mind. Like, I can't take it anymore. I just need to cry. So that's how I see Alfie's going. But he's got these 2 twin daughters that he's got to take care of. And basically no help. Thank God that I had some help because otherwise it'd have been a mess. But that is enough about me. So, the girls, whose name is Sylvia and I can't say it. Cassa. I'm going to just call her Cass because obviously I can't say her name. They start having nightmares coming into Alfie's room saying, Daddy, there's a man in my room. There's a man in my room. He goes, there's nobody in there. Well, they end up sleeping with Dad, which is perfectly normal. Mom's gone. They need the comforter to that. Well, slowly that stops. And Alfie's like, and it was going on for so long, he would just hear them lift the cover-ups and they would get in there. Well, he realized they're not coming in here anymore. So, he's figuring out what's going on. He goes, no, we're not scared of the man anymore. His name is Black Mamba. And, slowly they're telling him Black Mamba can turn into anything. A snake, a bird, a fish. He took us flying out the window up to the moon. And then one time Alfie found the girls in the tub. And, Black Mamba took us down to the drain. And, he's getting really concerned. So, he asked Julia, can you please come and make sure I'm not losing it with the girls? And she goes, no, it's nothing. It's just them processing their grief. Well, through the story, things are happening. And even me as a reader, I'm like, that's not normal grief. Even you and Alfie are seeing things out the corner of your eye. That's got to be suspicious. Which really upset me about one point in the book. Not at the book itself, but at Julia. Because Alfie and her sister Pippa moved into the childhood home, which you find out later had horrific things done into it. So Pippa allowed Alfie and their children to move in this house knowing it. Alfie had no idea. So if you believe in the paranormal, then you know where we're going with this. There's something going on in that house that should not be going on. So, Julia, she's like, okay, I'm going to come stay and see what's going on. Like, I can't. Well, she sees, she's monitoring the girls. Well, the people from the school show up and they're like, she's getting bruises on her, come with bruises, and he's like, oh no, don't assume that I'm doing it. They're like, no, we know we're not trying to say that. Don't be defensive. We know whenever, we seen what's going on. We just want to make sure. And they're like, we're monitoring the girls. We know they're dealing with a hard time with their mother passing. And by all rights, the school should have did that. They're seeing things going on, and you don't want to let it go on too long. But then, because you know what's going on in the book, you're like, yo, get out of here. Like, you're messing up the whole vibe, but whatever. And I really feel for Alfie. He's in a tough situation. I would feel for anyone, man, woman, grandmother, because this poor man hasn't had time to grieve. And Julia's coming in and she's like, I can't be around my nieces. They remind me too much of my mom. I hate my childhood home. Well, come to find out from the grandmother, who we need to have another discussion about grandmothers at another time, was letting the tea out that Julia also saw things when they were growing up at the house. That the father thought it was Pippa that had the sight, but it was Julia. So I'm like, wait a minute, chick. Like, you kind of got the feeling that she knew what was going on, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. This chick knew that stuff was going on in that house. Why didn't you say something? Why were you just assuming that these kids were making up, especially in that house? No, I was not happy with that. So, I will say the book had a really good ending, really good twist, and I'm not mad at it. Like, this is a book, if I didn't have something to read and someone's like, oh, why don't you read this? I'm like, I'm definitely reading it again. And I actually might check it out from the library again. Now, will I buy it? I don't know. Because it's not a book like, yay! I want to read it again because it's not my typical book. But it's high enough rating that if somebody was to give it to me, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I read it, I loved it. But I have so many books to read on my TBRs that it's not funny. So, again, if you're looking for something different to read, like you're into romance, fantasy, give this book a try. It's not so scary in the horror sense. It's got a little bit of paranormal to make it interesting, but it's more about the family grief aspects to me and how they deal with it. And that's basically what the book's about anyway. So I'm done ranting, talking, babbling like I usually do. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want everybody to hit that like button, subscribe. Please share this video because I believe this is a new author. That I'm not sure. And comment below if you've read this book or if you know any other books in the horror genre that you think I might like. Please let me know, because this is like the first book I've actually read. Now, granted, I read like Flowers in the Attic when I was younger, and I believe that was considered a horror book. But let me know if there's any other books you think in the horror genre that I would definitely like. I'm interested. So, I will talk your ears off later. Bye!